Thank you. All right, welcome everybody to the Presenting the New Duda Editor webinar. Before we get started, we want to run through a couple of quick things with you. First, this is a webinar about our new editor, and if you've been to the previous new editor webinar, this is going to be the same webinar again. So we did a webinar similar to this
a few weeks back.
This is the same content. This is just for anyone who didn't make the other one. We had a lot of requests to do it again, and it covers some new stuff. So wanted to reach out. So we're going to be covering the same content. So if you went to that previous webinar, it's going to be the same content this time. Either way, if you've registered for this webinar, we will be recording it, and we will send out a replay to anyone who registered for this webinar. So if you have to leave early, don't worry about taking notes. You're going to receive a replay of the webinar.
Exactly.
Cool. And then before we get started, I think we have a quick poll. We want to learn a little bit more about you, and if we can bring the poll up.
That's right.
There we go. So we want to know just a little bit about you, who you are, who's attending these webinars. So if you're a Duda small business customer, that's just you run a small business and you use us to make your website, please mark that. If you're a reseller of ours, if you're in our free trial, if you're interested in the reseller program or just something else, just mark it down so we know who's attending these things. And that way we can better suit our content for you guys in the future.
Absolutely.
What percentage do we have responded so far?
75.
75. We can do better than that, guys, right?
Moving on up.
To answering poll questions.
85% now. Very nice. Good to see.
All right, cool. All right, I think we can probably cut it down.
Yeah, I think we're good. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thank you all for your patience, by the way. All right, let's actually get started with the webinar.
Let's do it. Shall we introduce ourselves?
Yes, let's introduce ourselves. So if you haven't met me before, my name's Cody Zimmer. I'm the education manager here at Duda. I work with the platform a lot and create some content for our support portal, articles, videos, do trainings, webinars, that sorts of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Those sorts of things. And with me is Russ Jeffrey.
So I work on our product side. I worked very closely with our team in developing and kind of planning out this new editor that we're about to show. So I'm very hands-on with that. I also work a lot on our partnership side as well, so I kind of do product and sales as well. So
yeah, Russ is very, very knowledgeable, so it's awesome to have him here. So if you guys have questions about the product, Russ is a great guy to ask.
All right, so let's get into our agenda.
Yeah, what are we talking about today? So we're going to go over some of the kind of like the high-level changes that we're implementing with the new editor, kind of some of the reasons behind what we've done and the changes and why we're making those changes. And then we're actually going to hop into a live demo of the editor itself. We're going to walk you through the changes that have happened in the global design process, the pages sections, the widget sections, and actually walk you through the product tour and show you all those different changes that have been implemented. Because we do have a lot of new design features, like new layouts and things like that have been added to certain widgets and features. We want to show you guys because it's cool stuff. And
exactly.
Yeah, we think you're going to like to see it.
So we want to cover off quickly just kind of the high-level changes, which are Duda's goals as part of this new rollout here. So we kind of saw this as three different things. One was increased productivity while using the Duda platform, helping you build websites faster. Number two is we included a lot of updates, especially on the design side, that we had many customers ask for. And then third is having a much more robust technology stack to help us move faster in the future, right? So let's go through each one of these very quickly.
All right, so first off, the new platform is incredibly fast compared to our previous editor, Duda 1. This is about 40% faster. You're going to notice it as soon as you get into it and you start moving widgets around, you start interacting with the platform. It's just simply much, much faster than the previous platform. So that's a huge boost to productivity. It takes you less time to do things. You're going to build faster. You're going to build more websites and build them more quickly. Next up is the interface is a little bit different. We kind of switched up the right-click, left-click situation. So in the previous editor, when you clicked on something, you did a left-click, it would actually open up a context menu that gave you some editing options for the element or the widget that you're working with. Now you right-click to do that. When you left-click, you go right into editing the content for that widget. So it's kind of like a shortcut right in there. So it saves you less time. There's one less click involved, and we're trying to reduce the overall number of clicks that you have to make to edit content in the editor. And if that seems a little bit confusing, don't worry. We're going to show you a demo of exactly how that works. But trust us, it's going to save you time and make you more productive.
Right.
We also improved the drag and drop since the technology is built on or the new editor is built on a new technology platform that Russ will talk about in a moment. The drag and drop, just as you're moving things around in the editor, is way smoother, way more accurate, and less frustrating than it was in the previous editor,
right.
Which will make you more productive. And then we've added little productivity features inside the editor, like the widget search and the widget bar.
Right, find things faster.
Exactly. We've kind of streamlined the global design process, added in content autosave
right.
to make sure you're good to go. So also all across the board, we've added in a lot of productivity features and enhancements to make you build faster.
Cool. So let's jump into some of the features that our customers had requested of Duda directly. One is just a new icons widget, so you can add in SVG icons directly into the website, and Duda has about 1,000, and we'll demo this in detail once we get into the actual demonstration here in a second. We have a lot of new layouts on widgets, so the contact form, the divider widget, the restaurant menu, the map feature. A lot of these got good, nice design updates as part of this. We have color overlay options for backgrounds, which we'll show. More flexible photo galleries, so more designs, more control over how that photo gallery looks and acts. I mentioned the restaurant menu improvements. We have 22 new fonts, which puts us at over 100 fonts total. We added open graph support, backgrounds per page, and also interpage anchors as well. Bunch of features, and we'll cover most of these during the demo today.
Awesome. That's a lot of new stuff.
Yeah. And finally, we have a new technology stack as well.
Right, yeah, the new editor is built entirely in the React. It's not a platform, it's really like a framework.
Exactly.
And it's something that was actually created by Facebook as just like a really fast, kind of agile framework for front end.
Yeah, the idea behind React is it allows you to manage very complex user interfaces very easily. And if you look at the Duda editor, you can imagine there's a lot of complex things going on in the front end or in the browser itself. And React gives us a very clean pattern for following their guidelines of how we're going to change the layout and change what's viewed on the page and change the state of information. So just a very well-made framework that we decided to adopt as part of this. And this is where a lot of our improvements have been made. So a lot of the speed comes from using React to render a lot of the components. And also what this does is gives us a very solid foundation to move forward off of to build features faster and with higher quality in the future.
Thank you. That's very well put. Better than what I was saying. And just to be clear, though, so it's not only faster than the previous editor for the end user, for you guys, resellers out there building sites for clients, but it's also faster for Duda, for our developers, to go ahead and implement new features and to implement future requests and changes and enhancements. So it's faster for you, it's faster for us, so it's a win-win for both of us.
Right. Cool. So shall we get into a demo now and jump in?
Get out of PowerPoint. No one wants PowerPoint.
I agree. Great. So I just jumped over. I've got my browser window open here. And this is the new Duda editor that you can see right in front of me here. And so you'll see the layout and options are in very similar locations as the previous editor. But what you'll notice is that the left-hand panel has been reduced in size quite a bit. One thing that we noticed while watching our customers use the tool is that a lot of them actually collapsed that left panel and then just started editing in line. And so we decided to just incorporate that in and say, let's just make it smaller and give the site itself more room to breathe, right? Mm-hmm. More space to see what the actual content looks like, how it's going to be laid out. That visual look was really important for us for how that site's going to look at the end. So we just reduced that left panel to make that easier to see.
Yeah, it's much sleeker. I think it's much nicer. And I think after working with this editor, if you guys go back to the old Duda 1 editor, you'll see like how big that bar is on the left side. You're like, oh man,
20-30% of your screen.
Yeah, it's really out there. So the change is really nice. Overall, you can see it's a little bit nicer looking design. This is
modern, updated. Yeah.
Yeah, this is an updated, nicer looking editor. But don't let that fool you. There's lots of functionality that has been updated as well. So let's go ahead and pop into this left bar. And the first thing is the design section. And global design is really, really important. When you're going to build your site, this is where you're going to go and you're going to make changes that affect your entire site. And rather than going through page by page or widget by widget, it's best to come up here and set these global styles. And so in the past, this section was a bit messy. There was a few more options in here, and we've really streamlined it to make it a lot smoother and simpler to implement some global design. So
right. So like a really good example of what Cody's saying is we removed the color palette option from the global design. And instead we just said, look, if you want to set your text color, just come under global text and set your text color. If you want to set what the links are going to be, that's a text color setting. Let's include that there. Same goes with the titles or the headings of the site itself. And so we just give those options directly here in the global design rather than having that color palette type thought process like we had in the past. Or, for buttons, it's a very similar thought process. Hey, here's my button color, here's the button styles that we had before. Mm-hmm. Another new thing that's part of this that we added is the global images. This is something we didn't have in the past, but we now have options to design the layout of all the images on the website.
Yeah, this is really handy, like especially if you're going to go with like a design that has like the circle images or something like that, and you want to use that for all the images on your site. You can set those changes globally, or change them globally, or turn them off globally if you want to. You have complete control here.
Right. So, maybe you want to come and choose the border style, right, as part of it, and say, I want a border style of 3 pixels around all my images. That's going to be like a green, right? Mm-hmm. Nice little border on there. Make it a little bigger so everyone can see that.
Nice. And you can do that globally for all the images.
Yeah, that's impacting all the images. That's right.
Nice. Cool. So let's go back to the main design menu.
Sure.
And then we also have now backgrounds per page.
That's right. This was a pretty commonly requested feature. It's the capability to set different background images or colors on different pages of the site itself. So you can come in and say, on the gallery page, I really want to come and set a different background image to be shown on that page directly. So nice little design improvement there as part of the global design settings.
Cool. And then I think one thing that people might be wondering here when you're looking at the design section also is what happened to the header section options? Like that all used to be here in the global design. Mm-hmm. Now it's not. Where did it go?
That's right. So in the past we actually had 2 places for editing the header. So now to edit just the header styling, you just click on the header. You can go to edit content or edit design, and you'll get all of those same header options in the pop-up editing panel instead of in that left global design area. Yeah. We thought this was a little easier to access.
Right. So it's just, it's like a little more streamlined. It makes more sense.
Exactly.
Cool. All right. Do we want to show anything else in design? I think we're pretty good there.
Yeah. Let's jump onto some widgets here.
Oh, how about we do pages first?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, yeah, let's do pages. So at first glance, this looks pretty similar to what you'll remember from Duda 1, but the big difference here is when you actually go and click on the settings gear and you go into like the site URL area, the page URL area, we've actually combined a lot of these features just into one screen here. So if you have multiple settings that you can change, just from one page here, so just less clicks, less menus to dive into, to go ahead and make those changes. Otherwise, this is functionally pretty much the same.
Yeah, with the product team and the design team, when we were thinking about this change, we kind of considered this kind of a flat design, right? We tried to reduce the number of pop-ups, the number of clicks it took to get somewhere, to give things a little more space to kind of breathe, so you can actually see the features or see the customizations that you're making a little easier. So we kind of tried to implement this kind of flat thought process throughout the new editor. This is just a good example of instead of having a pop-up over the page, it's now just a complete overlay, so you focus on what you're doing in one spot.
Yeah, which I think is nice because it's not like a tiny little thing. You actually have some more space to work in here.
Right.
You're not just editing an element on the page. You don't really need to see it, which is nice. So now if we go over to pop-ups, nothing has changed over there. The only difference with pop-ups is you can add a video background on the
to a pop-up.
To a pop-up now, which if you go and try it will make your day better. Like you go and add a video background, and then you go to a site, you click a button, a pop-up shows up with a video background playing. It's awesome. So I highly recommend giving that a try, but I'm biased. Okay. Okay, let's see. Let's move on to widgets.
Let's do it.
So first thing, we mentioned some productivity options. Right off the bat, you can see we've got our search bar, where we can search for widgets.
Right, so I can start searching for something and find that widget directly. So if I search for phone, I'm getting a click to call here, right?
But Russ, phone isn't in the name of the widget, click to call.
That's right. So it's kind of a smart search. We did a tag-based search, so we have a lot of different ways to search for things that we think are going to be important, right? So I can search for Facebook as an example, and I'm going to get, number one, Facebook, but I'm also going to get social icons too, because Facebook is part of the social icons.
Excellent. Now, if you can clear out the search, we also have another one in here. It's frequently used, and this one I think is really cool. This works just as you're using widgets. If you're using widgets over and over again, they're going to appear in your frequently used area.
Exactly.
And I found this incredibly useful when I'm going and adding, I was adding multiple icons to a site, and then I went back to the widget area to get another icon, and I didn't have to look for it. I didn't have to scroll down. I didn't have to search. It was just right there in my frequently used. It was just really nice, really convenient. So definitely make sure to keep an eye on that as you're building your sites out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now we do have a new widget, right, which I just mentioned.
Right, which is the icon widget.
Let's go ahead and show it. Yeah.
So I'm going to go and drag this in. One thing I'll point out as I'm dragging this in is this process has become a lot smoother. We really worked to improve the performance of this, so it's a lot easier to kind of move and place things. You can also place things in columns directly, where in the past you actually had to go and add a column into the row and then go and drag a widget into it. Now you can just drag and place that new column in there directly. So if I come in, drop my new icon widget, I can place that, and then you'll see we have our icon content. Before I get into the settings of the icon widget, let me point out the structure of this new editing panel here. It's a little different than it was in the past. So you'll notice that we've split up things between content and design. And in the past, there was kind of a mix between content, design settings, advanced design settings. We really thought about this and look, we're going to have content and design as kind of the two options, and content is going to be what's actually in the widget. What's the functionality of it? What do you see as part of this? So choosing your images, choosing text that's going to be in there, choosing basic functionality that's part of that widget itself, whereas design is going to be all related to the color, the style settings, the background colors, the text colors, that type of stuff.
Right, and so instead of having 4 or 5 different tabs, we have 2.
Exactly. So if you're looking for something might be in a slightly different place than you're used to, right? A good example is the restaurant menu where you had an item design tab and then a category design tab and then also more. Instead, we just have the design tab, right?
Nice. And this is going to be consistent throughout every widget that you're working with on the site.
Exactly.
Always content, always design. This isn't going to change. We're not going to fool you, put in more menus for certain widgets and not for other ones. Every widget has content and design.
Yeah, and we're going to fit everything into one of those 2 categories.
Cool. That's our philosophy, and we're sticking with it.
So for the icon widget itself, I can come and choose a new icon here. We have about 1,000 different icons that you can see and select from directly, and each one of these is kind of a standard SVG icon here. I can come in and filter for these as well, say great, I want to have a arrow, something like that, or even if I want to search for maybe a car, I can come and search for car and do something along those lines, or car and carrot also.
Okay.
What's great about choosing an SVG is that it allows us to come in and change the colors actually directly within the design options itself, right, Cody? What's an SVG? Can you describe that?
Yeah, so SVG stands for Scalable Vector Graphic, and it's different than a normal image, which is just a set of pixels on a bitmap basically that is always going to be reproduced the same way. This is actually scalable, so it means that you can resize this as much as you like, and the browser actually redraws it at a new resolution. So you're never going to lose resolution as you resize it. And you can also recolor the image inside the browser as well. So you can actually change the color of it and edit it. So it's different, and it actually has a smaller code footprint than an image, so it's actually faster to load on websites too. So SVG and icons are just really good to use all around. Russ, you just changed the color of that, and we have a new color picker, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's talk about this.
So we do have a new color picker. You can see that here. It's kind of one screen to choose the colors that you've either used on the site or select a new one. And I think one of the nice features here is that we actually present what the new and current color are. So as I select a different color for this, I know what I'm changing that element or that piece of content from and to, right? What's the new, what's the old?
Mm-hmm. This is really useful for designers. If any of you showed up to the design workshop that I run, when we talk about changing the hue or changing the color, picking like a primary color, and then like just changing the hue a little bit, lighter or darker, you can really compare and the difference right there and come up with a great color scheme for the site as you're working on it. You can do that now right in the builder here, which is awesome.
Definitely.
All right, we've got more widgets to cover. We've got all sorts of changes we got to show. Let's
Cool.
Let's go to maps.
Definitely. So for the maps, let me head over to our contact page because I know this template has a map on the contact page. And I'll scroll down here. And we have this map here that's embedded. And one thing I want to point out right out of the box is we have a lot of new layouts for these maps directly. So we have now 6 total. In the past, we only had the one default one. So I can come and choose a different map style directly here. Do I want kind of a light grayscale? Do I want this, blue layout? Do I want a more muted color but standard colors option? Even when I choose some of these colorful ones, I can also come and choose the color scheme that's going to be attached to them. So this one I might want to come and choose maybe more of a green color. And you can see I'm going to apply a green scheme to that. We also allow you to zoom, which is a heavily requested feature as well, to set the exact street level view that you want to present to the user, to give them some context of where this restaurant is or where the location of this business is.
I'm really blown away by the amount of customization options we now have for maps. It's pretty awesome.
Right.
I had no idea we could do that. All right, we have new options as well for the photo gallery widget. Let's show that.
Definitely. So one we're looking at right now actually is kind of the layout here. This is a photo gallery that I'm highlighting. We have 4 images on the left, the big one on the right. It's one of our new styles that we've added. If I come and click on our photo gallery, I can go into the design here. We can choose a different layout. So you can see we have our standard, square grid as options. We have the new one that I'm showing. We have horizontal. We also have vertical facing ones as well.
Nice.
So some great new layout options here. If I just leave it, or let's say I do the horizontal one, I can also come and say, great, what's the number of visible images that I want to have, and control the space directly between each one of these images. In the past, we didn't give you this granular of control over it.
Yeah, it was just an on-off switch. Either you had space or you didn't have space.
Exactly.
And now you get to choose exactly that much, which is awesome. Okay, let's go to the contact form.
Definitely. Cody, one thing I just realized we skipped over very quickly is the right-click, left-click. And we want to make this very clear for people.
Yes.
So let's make sure we touch on this. So if I just single-click or kind of left-click on a widget like you normally would, that's going to open our design and kind of what we call our editing panel for this widget itself. But if I come and do a right-click, you'll see I get that context menu that's going to be very familiar to me if I'm used to the older editor. So I can go directly into editing the HTML, change the alignment of it, add some entrance animations, different things like that. I can come and still do, but it just requires a right click, which is a new thing. We didn't have a right click kind of mindset in the past.
I think this is a lot more intuitive too. Like if I go over here and I go and click on like some text or something like that, I'm going to immediately start editing it just when I click on it. And then if I want to change it or change something about like this paragraph element, and I right-click to open up a context menu. That's like how a lot of us interact with computers anyway. You right-click to open up a context menu. I think this is going to be a lot more natural for people, and I think you guys are really going to enjoy using it this way.
Sure.
Thank you for reminding us about that, Russ. That's really
cool. Definitely. So our contact form, we definitely have some new designs and layouts. What we're showing right here is already a new one where you have the labels up above with just a straight line down below for.
Nice.
Yeah, exactly. And we also have some new layouts as well. So if I come and choose something like this one here, which is just a standard borders around the input boxes or labels on the left. Some of these are newer designs which we didn't quite have in the past. Another thing which Cody is extremely excited about is the ability to change the button style. We give you a lot more control over how big you want this button to be, what colors, like what's that main call to action on the contact form itself.
Right? Yeah, you can fully customize the button, and it used to frustrate me so much on the previous editor when you couldn't change the button. You were just stuck with the button that you got with the widget. Now you can completely customize it so that your contact form will look exactly the way you want it to look. So no excuses now. You're going to have great looking contact forms. So thanks, Russ and team.
Yeah. Another update that we have is on the divider. It's a very small update, I would say, but it's a nice little touch. Is instead of just having a straight line for the divider to divide up content, we now have several different designs. So we have kind of curly mustaches, zigzag, dashed lines, and of course all of these you can come and say, I want to set, make it a little thicker, change the color, all of these different type of options. So I definitely check out the divider as a new way of adding a little bit of flair to your site.
Like hipster dividers? Is that?
Well, that's the mustache style, right, Cody?
I mean, who's gonna? You know what I mean? Mustaches, just all over my site. I
feel like we should use Cody's mustache as one.
Hey, my mustache is connected to a beard. So, anyways, that's let's get into the restaurant menu.
Yeah, let's do it. So if I head over to the menu page on this site, we also have in the restaurant menu, we actually added images in to the design of the restaurant menu itself. So here's an example of that restaurant menu, and if I go into one of the items, you can come and see there's now an option for images. So this was another heavily requested feature for our restaurant menu directly, something that a lot of our customers really kind of pushed us for, so we've added that in. Of course, if you don't have images, you can still go into the design section and choose one of the layouts that doesn't have images. So you see I just changed it to one that doesn't have an image as part of it, and we're not going to list those images.
All right. Now, this is just a PSA on my part. If you're a reseller or a small business and you're building a website for a restaurant, please try to get them to include a restaurant menu. So many times I wanted to go out to dinner, and I find a new place on Yelp, and then I go to their website to see what their menu is. If I can't see your menu, I don't know what you have to eat, how much it costs. I'm not going to your restaurant. There's so many times I've passed over restaurants because I couldn't find it. Maybe just because I'm particular, but hey, if I can encourage you guys to build more restaurant menus, so be it.
Right. Well said, Cody. I couldn't agree more.
Thank you, buddy. Let's go over social icons.
Yeah. So I think this will be the last of our widgets, right, Cody, that we're going to cover. Yeah. For social icons, first off, another heavily requested one is the ability to rearrange these. So I can come and put these in a different order. Something we couldn't do in the past. Instead, we just had a default order that Duda kind of provided for the social icons. We also added in a few more options here. So we have Snapchat now, Reddit, we have an email option, TripAdvisor is new. So some good additions here into the social icons element. We also give more design flexibility as well as part of this. So in the past, we had different layouts already. But we didn't allow you to, one, change the icon color, so I can come and say, great, I want these to be blue, or change the size, so I can come and make these bigger or smaller as I see fit, right?
But Russ, what if I want to, what if I don't want Facebook to be the first one?
Yeah, so we can come and just rearrange that, right? Just say, let's put it at the end.
What?
Or, right. Way too excited, Cody.
I think that's amazing. That's cool. So you can resize them. You can completely customize these in a way that you really couldn't in
one. Exactly.
Yeah. Awesome.
So next, let's jump in and let's do. We added an option in the background of rows and columns to do an overlay over images, and this is a really nice design little feature, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I can go into a row now and come and choose a background image. So let me just come and choose one quickly in this example. And I'll come and choose something kind of bright for us, like I'll do this yellow bicycle that Duda has. And what we have now is, if I scroll down, there's the option to do a background overlay. I can turn this on and add a color overlay over that background image, right? So you can see I move that to black. I think that might be a little too dark, but let's make it like a 20% opacity, something like that. You can really kind of push out that colorful background image and have your text or content stand out a little more that's going to be on top of it as you'd like. Sometimes you put really colorful images in the background and they can overpower some of the content, which is not what you want to do on your website.
Yeah, like let's try bumping this up to like 30. All right, let's do like 30 and then go to your text here. Let's click on this text here. Let's go ahead and select all of it. And let's just change it from
Black
gray to white. So it's going to pop out a little bit more. And well, it's still really tiny. Yeah, let's bold it.
There you go.
Make it a little bit bigger.
There you go.
Nice. Nice and readable.
So we're pretty happy about this. You can also do this on columns as well. And another thing is we now allow you to also set background videos on columns too. So I'll show this quickly. If I scroll down on the home page, we have a little video over here on the left that is just for on the column itself, right? So that's just a background video on the column. Kind of nice design capability.
Beautiful salad dressing all over the salad. Just okay. Let's move on with the left sidebar here. So one other change you might notice is that Insight is now gone, and we have denamed Insight to personalization or personalize.
Renamed.
Well, it's not really a name, right? It's just, we've now taken away its name and we're just giving it a description. It's personalization tools, personalization features, personalization
rules. Right. Yeah, I think there's really two main reasons why Duda did this, right? One is that Insight was kind of becoming a Duda brand name. It was something that it was kind of given its own name and feature inside of the editor, and so we decided to make it a little more generic and give it a personalization name. I think the other reason is personalized is a lot more clear than Insight itself. So say we have like a personalization rule or we're setting up some kind of personalized website, it's a little better for just kind of a communication.
Yeah, some people thought Insights might be like an analytics tool. Like personalized just better describes actually the functionality that
exactly.
you get. And yeah, like Russ said, no worries about the branding. So it's a little bit better for you guys as end users and also for resellers. The functionality in here has not changed at all. So it's the same personalization features you got with Insight. It's just now called personalized. And these are personalization rules. It works and functions identical to the way that it did in the previous editor.
Exactly.
Speaking of that, store and blog have not changed at all. These are the same. I mean, the graphics are a little bit different in these first menus here, but functionality-wise, when you get into your e-commerce store, your control panel is going to be identical, and your blog is going to be identical. No changes to either of these. However, there were a couple of changes in site settings. So if we go in here, we've now added open graph functionality here in the social networks image area. This is a really cool option. This lets you go ahead and select an image that social networks will pull when you go ahead and your website's link is shared on social media. So you have like a description and a photo that is going to populate, like whenever you type a link into your status on Facebook or LinkedIn or whatever, it's that little image that's automatically pulled in.
Right, and this is good for controlling, how the website looks and controlling some of that click-through. You want to have a relevant image for the website. Also, is good for branding in general.
Yeah, if you're making landing pages, especially for clients, you're going to do any sort of advertising, or, you're going to want to make sure you control this.
Exactly. One other small change that we made here is we broke out the site SSL from the site URL section. So you'll notice here in the site SSL I can come and add a certificate. The reason we did that is just because we know how important having an SSL certificate is for websites today. And so we wanted to make sure that everyone's clicking on this and taking advantage of enabling and adding a certificate to their website. And so if you haven't done that already, you really should go and add an SSL certificate to your website. Duda doesn't charge any extra for this part of your premium plan.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great advice. So we're just about done here. I think the one last thing we want to cover before we get back to the presentation is the ability to switch back to the old editor.
That's right.
And so there's a switch up top next to the Duda logo. You just go ahead and click that, and you'll go back to Duda 1, and you can see how big that sidebar is. Where's my website?
That's right.
All right, let's go back to the deck. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
let's just scroll through. We'll skip a bunch of these slides that we covered during
yeah.
the demo.
So we've got to what we thought were some questions you guys might want to know the answers to. Oh, okay. I guess we're doing missing features first.
Yeah.
All right. So there's a few things that were not included in this release here. So Facebook albums were not included. Notifications, multi-language is not included. Contact form integrations, multi-location and localization.
Yes.
All are not included currently, but are coming soon, right?
Yeah, exactly. So for a lot of these, actually, multi-language, multi-location are actually coming next week. Contact form integration is also coming next week, and some of our languages are going to be localized and sent out. Check for our release notes for the exact details on which languages are going to be included there. And then Facebook albums are still in work here as part of this, and notifications. But we will have this before any type of sunset or removing of those old editor happens.
Excellent. Removing of the old editor. Oh man, sounds scary. So so first off, people might want to know if they can go back to the old editor. We just showed that actually you can go back to the old editor.
Yeah.
When will the old editor be sunsetted? When will it become unavailable?
Yeah. So what we're looking at right now is actually going to be early April for this. In the first webinar we actually did, we mentioned that we were thinking to end February, but we've had some of our existing partners come and tell us, we need a little longer, and so Duda's decided that it looks like it's going to be early April that we're going to sunset that old editor. That being said, we strongly recommend everyone move into the new editor. It's going to be the interface going forward and for the future. We really feel and believe it's a better experience for the website itself and building websites. And so, if you have the capability, we recommend just use that now going forward.
Definitely, for sure. We believe that because it's true. It's better.
We're not biased.
So some people may be wondering, hey, my site's really old. Will it work on the new editor? Do I need to refresh it or recreate it? Or will only new sites work on the new editor? And that's not the case. All of your sites will work on the new editor. So it's completely backwards compatible. Any site that you have that's on a responsive builder will work on the new editor. If you have just a mobile-only site, that, of course, you need to create new again on the responsive builder in order to use it.
Yeah. So another common question that we've seen a few times is there any change in pricing? And the answer is no. There's no change in pricing. Exact same pricing structure that Duda had before. Duda really feels like this big kind of jump forward in our editor. We hope that it'll allow you to be more productive and build websites faster, and maybe because you can build websites faster, you can sell more websites.
Yeah.
That'd be good for everyone as part of this. So there is no change in pricing or any kind of change to plans or fee structure. All of that's going to be the same.
Yeah, it sounds cliche, but it's really like, we want to make you guys successful, and we want to build tools that help make you guys successful. So when you guys win, we win.
Yeah, exactly.
So another question for you guys who are resellers, you want to know if your staff can see the new editor, and if so, can they switch between them? And yes, they can.
Yeah, staff will have that option that we showed right at the top to switch between the new and that old editor directly. And for your customers who are accessing the website builder, there is a toggle under your brand settings for pros that allows you to choose if your customers see the new or the old editor.
And finally, if the new editor is supported on all browsers, and it works now on Chrome, Firefox, Safari, and then IE 11 or better, right?
Yeah, that's coming soon. That's one of those things that's coming soon. For IE, some of the newer versions of IE is coming. Yes.
Gotcha. Cool. So that's the questions we thought you guys would have. If you guys have your own questions, go ahead and fill them out in the questions box. Russ and I will take some time now to go through and answer as many as we can.
Absolutely. Let's see some of those questions, Cody. Great.
Moderator's cursor is in the way. Good job, Russ. Let's see.
Let's see.
Someone says, when you discuss about a widget called Paragraph, just so there's no confusion, we used to call elements, now they're called widgets. we might use the terms interchangeably for a while. It's an element, it's a widget.
Yeah.
It's one or the other.
I see Ava saying, love the new contact form. Can we have an address section with street name, state, zip code, area? That's a good idea to add. You could definitely do that right now with just one by one in the contact form and say, give me the state, give me the street, give me the zip code, and just have 3 different inputs for each one of those. But I think the country one makes the most sense to have like a drop-down of country selection or something like that. Yeah. It's a good idea. I'll add that as a feature request.
Stanford is saying when we go and edit text, it's automatically going bold, so please describe that issue.
Yeah, Stanford, if you can send an example of this to our support team, that'll help us kind of troubleshoot it. It looks like something we would need to view in real time to understand what's going on. That doesn't sound like the experience I've had using the editor.
Yeah, same here. Horatio is asking, how about the CAPTCHA box? The one we have now is really big and clunky, and we have no way to place it.
I think that's good feedback. Right now we're using Google's reCAPTCHA tool, and the design is definitely not something we have full control over. So it's good feedback to have there. Yeah.
So we're saying, I need to talk about the JavaScript issue, jQuery issue. How do I add a Java library in the site and how it's going to work?
So it looks like he's asking about adding some like custom code into the website. So that would be something I would reach out to our team again and see what exactly you're trying to accomplish and let them know what the issue you're running into. I think my quick suggestion would be not to include your own jQuery library if you're including your own set of code, but I'll let the team answer that one.
Shaniqua is asking if this is available for other shops besides restaurants. And if you're talking about the restaurant menu, absolutely. So we may automatically search for restaurant menus on single platform or Loku to try to populate it with food items, but you can absolutely use the restaurant menu widget to create menus and portfolios of services of any type, whether you're a nail salon, a pool cleaning service, car mechanic shop, whatever. You can enter in a name and a price and a photo for anything. So it doesn't have to just be food.
Right. We have a question here: how to have more than 4 columns in a row? That's a good one. So first off, this can be done through custom HTML today. We have a webinar that we did in the past on advanced customizations that we showed how to do this. But also, this is something that is on our roadmap already for a product improvement to allow you to add more than 4 columns to a row. It's something we do want to do and something we hear pretty frequently as part of this.
I cannot use your mouse, dude. Sonia's asking, thanks a bunch for this webinar overview of the new interface. I saw them a few weeks ago, but this was mentioned areas that I hadn't viewed. Oh, nice. Glad you found value in
it. Mike is asking, does background video play on mobile?
Negatory?
Yeah, it doesn't. Mike, we don't include the background video on mobile right now because when we did this and we did a lot of testing with it, the performance was not very great. It was pretty slow to load, especially over some mobile networks, and it also uses a lot of bandwidth to do that. So right now it doesn't. Right.
Yeah, the benefit that you get over the design looking a little bit nicer from having a video versus the negative you'd get impact on your SEO and the user experience for having it take forever to load a video is just not worth it, not worth your time. Kayla's asking a good question if there's any stock videos available. And unfortunately, no, we don't have a stock video library. And that's a really good point that you bring up, though, is that if you're going to add video to a website, you've got to make sure that you guys have the rights for it. So it's got to be either a stock video that you purchased or a video that you've recorded yourself and that you have the rights to if you're going to be putting it on your site.
Carib is asking, can you add a button over a gallery image? I don't see this option for this, only title and description. We don't have a way to add a button specifically over a gallery, but you can turn those images into links. So each one of them can be turned into a link that'll link to another page or section of your website itself. And so there's a little toggle button. And if I just switch quickly over to the Duda editor, very quickly, give me a second.
Yeah, because as you're mousing over the photo gallery, that's actually a clickable link, right?
Exactly, yeah. So I can come and turn this on, and you can enable links in the gallery. So then each one of these images can then be linked to a specific location. I can come and find where does that link go to, right?
Mm-hmm. So the whole thing is a button.
Exactly, right, Cody. Kent is saying you should remove inside in the blank row. Yes, good find, Kent.
Yeah.
Small little text problem there with the change.
Not all the copy has been updated. That's good. Thank you for pointing it out, though.
Yeah.
Kultar is saying, can you please explain how we insert an image or images in a paragraph and multiple rows in a column?
So to answer this, first off, I'll answer the second question first. For multiple columns in a row, this is not something we allow directly within the Duda editor. We felt like that would be a very complex setup, and so you can only have one set of elements within the columns themselves. Again, you can do that through advanced options by adding your own row into a column, but it's not something we allow directly within the interface. And for adding in images in paragraphs, that's something we allow you to place images next to paragraphs and maybe a different column next to it, but we don't allow them within or in the middle of paragraphs directly.
Mm-hmm. Yehova's asking, can I sell a product in the store, and which payment gateways can I use? Yeah, our e-commerce store is absolutely set up to sell products. You can add, on our basic free one that's included with every site, up to 10 products. And you can implement any payment gateway that you have. So if you have authorized.net or PayPal, you can set up whatever payment gateway you have. We support quite a lot of payment gateways. How many? Jesus.
It's like 35 plus.
Yeah, 35 plus. So we have like over 35 different payment gateways that you can use. So go ahead and pop in there and check it out, and check out our support portal for more information on setting up those gateways.
Yeah. Brian is asking, on the new editor using the button widget, I can't find a way to set the button size to 20. Choices are 18 and skips to 24. I've tried to manually set 20, but it keeps reverting to 18. Yeah, Brian, this is actually something we know about. We're going to get that one fixed. It's a small bug within the design settings.
Yeah. Kent is saying, I wish you would address the design of a mobile site version from within the responsive. Okay, click on that. From within the responsive design, as the mobile site has a completely different purpose and info than the desktop site.
Yeah, Kent. I mean, this is a good point you're making. Mobile design is very important as part of this. You know, when you're using the Duda editor, the site is going to be automatically optimized for mobile automatically, but that is something you're going to want to go through and look at the mobile version directly and make sure that it looks good across all of those devices. So you're absolutely right that this is something that you should look at as part of the design process and making sure that your site works and looks good on mobile directly, especially now that Google is indexing mobile first rather than the desktop content. What content is viewable on mobile is what's really important these days.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Andrew's asking, will notice be emailed about constant contact integration form when it's added? I believe it's actually already ready to go. So yeah, it's in there now. It wasn't the last time we did this a few weeks ago, but it has been added since. So I want to make sure that we're communicating on that correctly. So Google Sheets, MailChimp, Constant Contact, and webhooks are all integrated into the contact form. In fact, Russ, can you just show that real quick?
Sure.
So we go back to the contact form. And if we go click on it, you'll see you can click the integration tab and you can see the MailChimp Constant Contact right there.
Mm-hmm. Great. That's a good one.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for asking that.
Yeah. Ray, you're mentioning something about Norton Security blocking the domain dudasite.com. Yeah, can you shoot an email to our support team about that, and we'll take a look. That sounds like something we need to address there.
Kenneth, you're asking, on the color palette, can we plug in specific Pantone numbers? Oh, wow. No.
No, we don't allow that today. Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
Mostly just hex values are what we allow.
Yeah, good question.
Yeah. Teresa is asking, any way to change the tablet/mobile area? Yeah, absolutely. So if I go back to my editor quickly, you'll see that across the top, I can come and change the view of how this looks. So if I want to come and just click on the mobile view, I'll see the mobile version of how the site looks, and I can make edits here. Right? The important part to note is that this is one website we're building, and so edits that I make here are also going to apply to desktop and tablet a lot of the times, but we sure allow you to make some customizations to mobile directly here.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you have to recreate old mobile sites in the new editor? It seems not so well thought out. Well, they're really two different platforms. Some of the old mobile sites already had desktop sites that went along with them, and they're really completely different systems. So, if you need a full-on desktop site, you're going to have a better experience if you come over and actually build that on the responsive builder and include it together, because it's not just adding a desktop site to a mobile site, it is one fully responsive website.
Yeah. Kirk is asking, how do you pull a page for offline use without deleting it? And what I would say is what you can do in the editor is you can actually come and create that page or pull in content onto that page, and then you can come and use our feature for hiding a specific page. So if I come and say, great, let me hide this in navigation and hide on all, that page is no longer going to be clickable. It's not going to be a link in the navigation, but later you can come and unhide that, and it'll still be part of the site for a later point.
Man, I can smell lunches here, so we better get to these questions.
Did the mobile editor receive an upgrade? This question is from Marquez. The answer is no. The mobile editor did not receive an update as part of this. To the way Duda kind of sees this is our mobile editor is a little bit of our older product set, and so in the future we're not going to be updating the mobile editor very much. So most of our development work is going into this new responsive website builder that we showed today. Gary is asking, the first section of the checkout on the storefront doesn't state that it is asking for shipping information. It's confusing whether you should enter shipping or billing info. The next step does not state to enter billing info. Can the first part of the checkout be made to ask specifically for shopping info? Is there a workaround to, oh, that's the second question. So for your first question about changing the checkout process, I totally get that could be a little confusing. It doesn't state whether it's shipping or billing. So we'll look to address that as part of it. It's good feedback to have. We don't have a way to change that right now, but we'll make sure that it's more clearly labeled. I think that's a good solution to have there. And then you're asking about a way to remove the author and date from blog posts. I believe there's a little bit of CSS that you can do to accomplish that, but we don't have a way through the interface to edit that.
Yeah, there's not something that's built in for that. You'd have to add your own custom code to basically display none, the author and date on the blog post.
Right.
Shaniqua is asking, as a party store owner, I need more pics with balloons. Could you add those to the gallery?
Absolutely.
Wow, you can do that?
Certainly. So in the gallery, I'll go to the gallery page for us quickly, and I'll find our...
I think she means like, could we add them to our stock gallery?
Oh, our stock photo gallery. Yeah, absolutely. That's a good thing. We should add some more balloons. We actually are working on a project to vastly increase the number of images that you can find directly within the Duda store or the Duda platform itself. Mm-hmm. So that's something that's a work in progress right now.
Yeah, we are working on that. How do I import a bunch of images at one time? Ernesto is asking.
Yeah, so you should be able to, when you upload an image into Duda, so if I come and find this one as an example and I replace this, when I upload new images, I can come and select as many images as I want from my computer, right? I can come and choose and say, great, I'll come in, I think I have something on my desktop, right? Like here's a bunch of images. I can just come and hold Shift and select a bunch of these and upload all of these at once if I'd like. Right, and click Upload, You'll see all of those are going to be uploaded into the system at once. So you can upload as many as you want there all at once.
Yep, it's super useful.
Yep.
Are you going to make a header widget? I really want one.
Kirk, I don't see us making a header widget directly. We feel like the header should be something that's consistent across all pages of the website, and so we only have one header element today, or a widget, as you call it. We do, though, give you the option inside of the Duda editor to say, you know what, on this page, I really want to hide the header, and I don't want that to be shown. So I can come and click on the header and hide it and say, great, let's hide that on tablet, mobile, and desktop, so it's not available. And then I could just add in my own row and design my own header if I wanted to go that route for this page. Mm-hmm. So if you wanted to have a different set of headers per page, you could accomplish that.
Okay. That's a really, really great explanation. Mary Ann is asking, one of my pages doesn't show up now. I asked why, and this was the response.
Mary, what we'll do is we'll ping our support team to see if we can get you an answer there of why one of the pages doesn't show up. We'll try and help you out.
Yeah, we'll take a look at this.
Yeah. When I log in, I still see the old editor, and I can't switch. Where can I switch over? So that new option should be available just in the top left of the editor to switch to the new one. If you don't see it, let us know, and we'll see what's going on with your account specifically.
See, Christian is asking, is there a new link to access the new builder, or will it be an option on the existing platform, I guess?
Yeah, so the way this works is, we're going to throw you into the editor that you were using previously first, and then you can just, once you get into the editor itself, after either you're choosing a new template or selecting which site you want to edit, you can come and just toggle between the new and the old one right up here at the top.
Mm-hmm. So if you go to create a new site and you're in the Duda 1 editor, just switch over to the new editor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Jill is asking, can you overlay an icon over an image with the background overlay? Yeah, you could definitely do that. I think our recommended path to doing that would be on the column itself. You can select the column that's behind that icon and come and say, great, let's set an image on that column. So I'll just choose an example here. Here's one of those photos that I uploaded. So I have that option behind it. Then if I want to change this to be a little more friendly, I can change the design and say, let's change the background color and add some opacity to that so we can actually see what's going on back there, right? Something like that.
That actually looks pretty cool.
It's all right. Could be better. But.
You unlocked the grapes. Get the polyphenols out of those.
That's right. Or even do something like that as well. Almost cover the entire thing.
Nice.
Yeah. Now I'm just getting picky.
Yeah. Perfectionists. All right. Let's go. See if we can do some more questions here.
Certainly.
Jenna's asking, if possible, could you give an example of the HTML block? I was told that this is best to embed a calendar in.
Yeah, sure, we can do that. So what Jenna's referring to is, as one of the widgets that Duda has, we have the option to embed custom HTML or custom code of some kind into the website. So we can just take this HTML widget and drag this into the page of where we want that block to be. We can come and say, great, we're going to drop that in, and then Duda gives you an input box here to say, what's that code that you want to put here? So for your example of a calendar widget, you just copy and paste that calendar widget code directly into this HTML box, and that should work to load up that calendar example.
One thing that you should keep in mind is if you're using third-party code, make sure that you know where the code's coming from, and preferably that if you're linking to any third-party resources that they're using, like HTTPS, they're using a secure protocol. Otherwise, it's not going to show up correctly in the editor or on your site.
Yeah, it's a possibility to happen. Most of the calendar plugins solve for that, but it's something to be aware of, definitely. Sandra is asking, so I use it for mobile site. Does it still sync with the website I have? Sandra, the answer is no. What we're showing here is the responsive website building product, not the mobile-only editor that we had in the past. And so this responsive product does not sync any content with a previously existing site. This responsive builder is for a desktop, tablet, and mobile site specifically, which is something completely different.
Mm-hmm. Ava is saying thank you. Shaniqua is saying so far there's only one pink balloon. You'd like more. Doug is saying I work with Yahoo Site Solutions and Duda Mobile. Can I switch to Duda instead of Yahoo Site Solutions? I'm fine with it.
If you wanted to rebuild your entire site, you could, but that's going to be a good amount of work to move your site off of Yahoo and onto Duda's responsive builder here directly. But if that's something you were looking to do, it is possible. But that's just a choice you should make of what's going to work best for your business.
Mm-hmm. Arva's asking, have you been fixing some of the bugs since you released the new editor? Yes, we have.
All the time. Maki is asking, can I insert my own code, e.g. JavaScript? The answer is yes. We have a developer mode up here at the top, and you can actually get access to all the HTML and CSS and fun code goodies that are part of the website itself. So you can see all of that right there.
Mm-hmm. Kara's saying, can the user click on or pin on a map to launch a map app for directions? The answer is no. No, you cannot.
Yeah, well, what you can do is you can turn the map into a button. So for mobile devices, it'll open up Google Maps on a mobile device. So if I head over to mobile view here directly, and I go to the contact page as an example, you'll see that our map element here has been turned into a button rather than a map embed. And that's just an option we have here. You see, use as button. So you can either do that as an embed or as a button on mobile. So if it's a button, it'll open the mapping software they have on their mobile device.
And this is still useful to do if you have a restaurant. Don't think that just because Yelp has this, like your address, that it's okay. Because Yelp opens up Apple Maps by default, which I refuse to use. So if you put this on...
So picky, Cody.
I am so picky. I'm worthy of good things in life, Russ.
Drew is asking, my only question is regarding the way website reconfigures based on zoom settings. There are times when the website's centered and aligned, but when the website is viewed at higher zoom, everything becomes discombobulated and uncentered and staggered. Drew, I'm not familiar with that directly with the map settings. If you want to shoot us an example of that to show where it's kind of...
I don't think it's map settings. I think it's talking about like zoom settings like this.
Zoom settings on the browser.
Yeah.
Okay, so like this type of thing, like zooming in. Got it. Yeah, I would recommend just using the default zoom or 100%. In that case, then, if you're using, yeah, try not to zoom too much would be around. We try and plan out for the 100% use case.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to be manipulating the zoom level of sites, you've got to understand that things are going to be rearranged a little bit differently.
Right. Joel is asking, just a few minutes ago you said existing mobile sites would or would not work in the new editor. So if you're using Duda Mobile or Duda's mobile-only website builder, then that is not going to be compatible with the responsive website builder. These are two different website platforms that Duda has, and so only responsive websites will be able to be built in the responsive website builder. So two different setups there, yeah.
Steven is asking, does the editor address Retina display quality when adding images? I don't have a Retina display, but I'm just curious if how my designs look to those that do.
Yes, we do. We handle that automatically. So if you upload a big image to Duda, we're actually going to multi-size that image and deliver the right image for the right use case. So generally, if you have like a background image where it's going to be really big, Duda is going to deliver the biggest version of that image for the background. So those higher density pixel screens will display a nice sharp image.
Mm-hmm. Arva's backing us up, saying she's noticed that some things that were quirky have been fixed.
That's great.
Sam is asking, will changing an element in one viewport affect the way the element looks in another viewport?
Sam, in general, the answer is yes. If you change the color of a text element, you're going to change it across all devices directly. The only time that is not true is when you're changing spacing options within the mobile view. So if I come into mobile here and add a bunch of space to this phone number, like I'll add a bunch that clearly doesn't look good, that is only going to be applied to mobile and not desktop itself. So if I move over to desktop, you can see that that phone number is not pushed all the way down like it was on mobile directly. But for all the other type of design changes like color and mostly sizing, that is going to apply across the devices.
James is saying mobile sidebar background color seems to be only editable in the old version.
The background color, I'm not sure which part he's referring to.
The mobile sidebar, like the sliding menu on mobile, maybe?
Oh, yeah, James, if you can clarify, either like shoot or support him a question about that, we can see what's going on there.
Brad, you missed the webinar. No worries, we got you. We're sending everyone who registered a link to the recording. So this is being recorded, and we will send it out to everyone who registered.
Yeah, certainly. Karen is saying, thank you for the great webinar, Cody and Russ. Looks like she has to go, but looks like Karen has a request. Well, good to see you, Karen, and thanks for stopping by very quickly.
Thanks, Karen.
Yeah.
Let's see, do you have, let's see, any way to add GIS coordinates to contact area and link right to the phone or tablet directions?
Teresa, I think we answered this with the map option of saying, you can turn your map into a button, which will then open, Google Maps or Google, any type of like mapping application on the phone itself. So that'll probably be the best route to accomplish what you're looking for.
Cool. All right. Well, guys, it's we're about 10 minutes past the hour, so thank you so much. We apologize if we didn't quite get to your question. We appreciate everyone who came to the webinar. Thank you for answering the poll questions. Thanks for listening to Russ and I talk. Thank you to Russ for joining and sharing his vast knowledge of the platform with you guys. I hope you liked the webinar. I hope you got a lot of value out of it. Again, we will send out the recording to everyone who registered, and we look forward to seeing you guys on the next webinar.
Yeah, thanks again for coming, guys.
All right. Bye, everyone. Have a good day.